So let's get started. This course is made for people who already know how to do exploration. I'm not going to be explaining the hacking mini game. So if you need to know how to do that, you can look up in the E-UNI wiki. It is not hard to get started, and it's pretty easy to learn them. Over the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to teach you how to find ghost sites, what to do with them, the loot, and the ship fittings. So, we have few good rules for the class. Make sure your mumble's on push to talk. Feel free to type any questions in classroom1.E-UNI. I will try to answer them as I go along, but if you can hold till the end, we have the Q&A then. And let's see, we're all docked up. Alright, is anyone not ready? Go ahead and X up in classroom1.E-UNI. Alright, then we'll get started. So ghost sites are a high-risk PvE pirate exploration site. They give out blueprints and materials for those blueprints to manufacture. The interesting thing about ghost sites is they allow for the first time ever in EVE for players to manufacture their own blueprints, implant blueprints that is. So they also, lost my spot. So the blueprints that you can make from these sites are the Ascendency Blueprints, such as what Fiery has linked. There are two grades, the low grade and then the regular grades. When you have a full set of low grade implants plus the Omega, there is a 25% bonus to your warp speed. When you have a full set of the high grades plus the Omega, there is a 50% bonus to your warp speed. Granted that the Omega probably costs about $1 billion right now. So you won't be seeing that one anytime soon. These sites are really easy to find. What they are is they basically combine the hacking minigame with a defensive combat counterattack, making it pretty deadly if you get caught in the middle of it. You can find the sites in every region of space, including wormhole space. I have found one myself. They are very hard. I would not recommend it unless you had T2 stuff. They are cosmic anomalies, so you don't have to scan them down with the prefix of combat sites. They show up in the anomaly list as, let me get the link. Well, that failed. So anyway, they show up as the size, the faction, and then Covert Research Facility. And it's right on your combat anomaly scanner. The types of site are dependent on the security of the space you're in. So in high security space, it'll be lesser than the pirate faction Covert Research Facility. And then in low sec it'll be standard, in null sec it'll be improved, and in wormholes it'll be superior. So now that you know how to find the sites, which you can just look through your cosmic anomaly scanner, running the sites is a whole new different worm to put on your fishhook. So, once you warp into the site, you'll notice that you're in the middle of 4 hackable containers. Once you warp in, if you're not cloaked, an invisible timer will start. But if you have a Covzop cloak on, the timer will not start for the sites. I'll get back to the timer here in just a second. So when you look around, the containers are set up in a perfect square, with one of them being differently named than the others. The container that is differently named usually, but not all the time, has better loot in it. So you want to pick that container first and burn towards it, orbiting at 200 or 2,000 meters. Activate a hacking module of your choice. It can be either the relic or the data. Once the hacking game is done, you can select the container and loot it. It does not spew the loot in space like data and relic sites, which is really nice. You only have one attempt at hacking the container. If you fail in hacking the attempt, the container will explode, dealing about 5,000 to 6,000 in explosive damage. It is just explosive, so that's all you have to tank against for these sites. This amount of damage will usually pop any frigate except for Astros if properly tanked. You might be able to get assault frigates tanked like that too, but at that point it's useless to bring those in because they don't have the bonus. The damage area of effect is known to be 9,000 meters, so you can basically round it up to 10,000 just to be safe. If you are hacking the containers and you are successful, after a certain amount of time, which you cannot, which is invisible to you, the pirate faction cruisers for that site will warp in and start popping the cans. Those cans will explode and damage you as well. So if you're in the middle of two cans and then two of them pop, you're probably going to die. Now, once the rats are done shooting the cans, they're going to lock onto you and warp scram you and then pound you for about 30 to 45 seconds. They do an obscene amount of damage, even in low sec. I had a rupture that I wanted to go to the site and just tank all the damage that I could. I took one can explosion, which did instantly 4,000. Took all my shield off. And let me think. I get my stats here. I had effective hit points of over 20,000, and they brought me down to 2,000 within 30 seconds. So they're pretty hard hitting. In wormholes, there's twice as many cruisers that come and go for you. So if you get caught by those guys, you're probably going to die, no matter what. Running these sites solo is not really recommended because you don't get the most out of them. The best way to do them is to buddy up with someone, warp in. The person with the best skills for hacking them will be getting the special can, which is differently named, and then they'll move to the left, and then the other guy moves to the right. You hack all the cans, and then you leave. Usually, you only have enough time to hack 2 cans anyway, and so this works out pretty good. It has been noted, but not confirmed, that the more people you have on the site, the longer the time you have. Edmund, I was flying a rupture, just because I wanted to tank it. Now, some interesting things to look at. Yeah, more people, more time. Some interesting things to consider. When you warp into the site, I like to drop a bookmark right when I land, if I'm flying solo. Sometimes I do this if I'm flying with a buddy, if I feel like I can't tank the damage. So I drop a bookmark, I start burning towards the can, I orbit, I hack, then I move towards my second can, orbit and hack, and then I jet can my loot. That way if I get scrammed as the pirates warp on, or if I get killed when one of the containers explode, if my buddy messes up, the loot will still stay at the site, and you can warp to it after it despawns in, 15 or so minutes. Any more than 2 people bringing to the site is really going to start diminishing your returns in low sec and in PC null sec. Alright, moving right along. There's not much to go over on these sites because they're pretty quick. We're going to go into loot now. You can get basically 4 items, well, not 4 items, you can get much more than that, but there's 4 main items of loot to look for. These are the 2 items that you can pull out. They're in every Go site. They're almost in every can as well. The covert research tools don't have a known use so far. They believe that they are linked to the next patch that will be coming out in the summer. The shattered build wheels are used to manufacture the Ascendency implants. They're the prime ingredient for it. With the covert research tools, you can sell them on the market for about 500,000 apiece. So they make a decent income. I'll tell you my secret right now. The best place to sell them is Dodixie. They're going for about 800,000 right now. The more valuable stuff is the blueprints, which is the low-grade Ascendancy sets, and then the regular Ascendancy sets as well. Those go for quite a bit of money if you know where to sell them. I prefer to hoard them up myself because I like to make my own implants. The other set of implants that are doing well is the Wetu Mobile Depot and the Yurt Mobile Depot. Sella, I'll answer that at the end of the class. I'll be discussing ship fits and things. So with the Wetu Mobile Depot, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Those are going for about 6 to 8 million right now, and the yurts are going for about 120 million. Hold on, let me guys get you the loot table real quick. I forgot to bring it up. So there's the E-UNI wiki article. I re-updated it today, and it has the loot tables that were confirmed by CCP around the middle of it, of what you're going to find in each region of space. Other than that, there's no other known loot from them. Just those 5 items. Sorry, I lied earlier, instead of 4. The yurt ones are the most valuable, of course, out of all of them, and then the Omegas are, I think they're so rare that they're going for about 1 billion, but it's very unlikely that anyone will find any of those. From what I know, you can find BPOs as well as BPCs in these things, so that's good to know. I've seen 1 or 2 of them on the market, and they're going for quite a bit. Alright, so we're going to do the final and last thing, which is ship fittings. There are several different ways of looking at this. The gist of fitting these ships and doing these sites is cloaky travel, tanking it, and hacking success rate. Obviously, the Stratios is the best choice because it can fill all those roles. The other good choice is a Tech 3 cruiser. Unfortunately, those 2 things are kind of expensive. So if you were to fit a Stratios, I don't know how to fit Tech 3s, but if you were to fit a Stratios, you want to armor tank the bottom, and you want to have the hacking module, as well as the hacking module rig that gives you a bonus to it. Of course, a Covert Ops cloak, an afterburner or micro warp drive, and possibly an active repper in case you get caught by the rats. If not, you want to tank up to 25,000 EHP, but it'd be preferable if you can get over it. However, that is not the case for wormhole sites. Wormholes have about twice the amount of cruisers, and they probably do a little bit more damage. So I would assume, based on the math, doubling it, you would want to have 50,000 EHP. Now, the other option for the rest of us poor people who don't have skill points, you have Tech 1 cruisers. I do a lot of sites in these. They work fine for low sec. You can either shield or armor tank. A lot of people prefer to armor tank, even though you have to build up the explosive. Mostly you're going to be focusing on explosive, and then when the rats show up, you want to warp off as soon as possible. If the rats do show up, they're going to deal their pirate faction damage. So if you are doing a Serpentis site, then you want to do thermal and explosive, and kinetic too, I think. But I don't know if they don't deal too much in kinetic. But yeah, you'll have to check up the damage tables for specific pirate factions. The other approach to this is my favorite. This is the Suicide Exploration Exploders, is what me and JT call them sometimes. They are cheap T1 frigs, fitted with 2 warp core staves, and a few rigs to help out with my analyzers. If you fail the can, you will die. There is no way of getting around it. But it's only a, $2 or $3 million ship, so who cares? For low sec, these are quite good, especially in groups of 2. And if someone starts to mess up, they just wait on that can, and then the other person warps off. They'll jet can their loot if they have any, and drop a bookmark and leave, and the other guy just takes a hit. The pirate faction cruisers will not warp, scram, and shoot a pod. I sat there with mine, risking a lot, just to make sure. The third option, which is something I'll be experimenting with next month, will be forced recon ships. They can tank the damage and they can travel cloaked, but they do not have a bonus towards the relic and data analyzers, which is kind of unfortunate. However, they make a really nice choice because they pretty much guarantee that you can live through the site, especially when the pirate faction cruisers show up, you can just cloak up. Last of all, there is Asteros. That is the only frigate that you can run the site in and live. As long as you tank pretty good, you will not be able to tank the damage from the pirate faction cruisers, but you can tank the explosive hit. When you're building your tank, you want your explosive at up to a minimum of 75%, because I believe these cans do up to 10,000 raw damage. So if you're armor tanked and you don't have any explosive, you'll take that full hit pretty much if your shields are thin. As I said, in low sec and null sec, you'll probably receive up to 25,000 in damage if you get scrammed by the pirate faction cruisers. It's always good safe practice to jet can your loot and drop a bookmark, just in case, if they win. So far, no one has killed all of the pirate faction cruisers because they warp off after about 45 seconds. There is speculation over on the forums on possibly getting a gang together and alphing all the cruisers that show up, because in the video of the promo for this, they kill all the cruisers and then battleships show up. So we'll see that maybe in a few months. If someone can get something put together, that'd be kind of cool. No, you cannot scram the cruisers. They warp off just like the rats warp off in the belts. They run on a timer, just about 45 to 30 seconds. Well, that is we are about done with this. Is there, I can start taking questions right now in classroom1.E-UNI. Yeah, the Stratios can be good, it's expensive. And so if you want to cover the cost for it, that would be ideally the best ship to run it in, because you can tank it, and you can fly cloaked, and you have the bonus towards the hacking modules, which is all three things that you need for the sites. The sites don't show up very often. I don't know about the tables in high sec. Sometimes you can run up to over 100 systems and only see 2 or 3 sites. Other nights you can find 4 or 5 sites within 20 systems. Yes. You can scan the cans if you want to. I find that it takes too long to scan the cans, especially if you have warp core stabs in the bottoms. But there are people who prefer not to have the warp core stabilizers while traveling around, and go ahead and scan all the cans first. No, you do not have to find them with the core probes. They are on your cosmic anomalies. I'm going to go ahead and open Mumble up for the rest of the Q&A.
So you can't just burn away? If you know you're going to fail, you see it's going to come, and the next maneuver you make in the mini game is going to get you killed. Can't turn and burn?
No, because the relic analyzers have a maximum range of 5,000 meters, and the second that link breaks, that can explodes. And so you only get about 6,000 meters before that explosion hits you.
And I assume you can't warp while playing the minigame?
No, because right when you start the warp, it'll deactivate your relic analyzer.
Roger that. So you're doomed if you're in a frigate.
Yeah, I've tried numerous times to warp away or to burn away, get super fast ships to move out. It's just, I can't find a way to do it. Cyreno, I can't pronounce that name. Yes, someone has a echelon fit on the Project Ascendency forum. It's a pretty good idea.
It says it's got an optimal range of 10K, so I can actually see it pop and not get clobbered?
Possible. CCP says that the damage goes out to 9,000. Other people generalize it around 10. So I'm going to take CCP's word and say the damage goes out to 9,000. But just to be safe, I play it at 10.
Well, it's got a 10K range, so...
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you might be able to move out of the way by then, because there's a delay between, the 10,000 and the 10,250 meter range, while the module is still cycling, and you might be able to move out by then.
So I could burn away with that thing.
Possibly. I've never ran one with it before.
The theory.
Yeah, it's a theory. Most of the stuff, half the stuff is speculation. And so I did hours of work trying to confirm everything that was stated over in the forums and stuff like that so I can get you guys the most accurate classes possible. But, there's a lot of stuff shrouding the mystery of these sites. Supposedly, CCP said in an interview that the Ascendency implants, you have to have those in order to use the new Stargates that are coming out in the summertime for the new area space.
Wait, say that again?
There's going to be a new region of space that's going to be sometime coming out this year.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is, basically, it's going to be a corporation-wide effort to build the Stargates to get to this region of space. And it's unknown what's inside of it. No one knows any of the mechanics. It's, completely, mysterious. There's no info on it right now. But CCP mentioned that in order to activate these new Stargates that you'll be building as a corporation, you have to have the Ascendency implants in.
In to build them or in to go through them?
To go through them. But that's not confirmed. Concrete. Yeah, that'd be a fine fit. You do not need the core probe launcher. But yeah, I often, if I run across them in my exploration ship, I go ahead and run them.
Worth the loss, every time?
Every time. I do the suicide, site exploders. That's what I like to do.
So you're saying you go hack one, hack two, jettison, and see if you can hack the third, and to hell with it, what happens?
Yeah.
Do you find, at least in your experience, that it is the odd-named one that is really the one that's kicking the good stuff out?
I do. Other people have said that it doesn't produce anything special out of them that they find. And so it's kind of hit or miss.
And
but
now
they have 3 with the same name, special named.
Okay, the mechanic now, because you said it looted as opposed to the crap spitting out of it. So does that mean as soon as it registers, you gotta relock it, or should you've already got it locked, I assume. You should be able to hit, loot and grab it and go?
Yes. You can, after you're done hacking, you just open the canister and loot the materials. Just like a can in space.
All of a sudden that echelon sounds to suck again because you'd have to close into 2,500, eh?
Right. But you got the security of not dying, but you're running against your time as well.
Yeah, echelon sounds like it's a one-can deal.
Right. It sounds like echelon would be good for groups of 4 or something like that. Although I wouldn't really run with a group of 4 unless you're doing research on them, because the money you pull out of it usually won't be worth all that much. Like in low sec, you're going to expect to pull about anywhere from 15 to 30 million out of them. And that's without getting any blueprints.
Really, eh? Because I'd be all about the blueprints. That seems to be the juicy stuff.
Yeah, that's the main thing, but unfortunately, the really good blueprints are over in Sovnal and Wormhole Space. And Sovnal, of course, is restricted to us for now. And Wormhole Space ones are incredibly hard. I would not go back into a wormhole and do a ghost site in there unless I had Tech 2 everything.
Oh, because of the minigame?
Yeah, the minigame is ridiculous.
Okay, because I assume that if the cruisers are coming in, I'm dead already.
If the cruisers are coming in, you got time to align and warp out, but if you don't notice them, they can pop the can that you're hacking and it can kill you. Because they shoot the cans first, even if they've been hacked before. They'll shoot all the cans, and then they'll lock on you, warp scram, and then shoot you for about 30 to 45 seconds.
They'd never lock me. I'd have exploded by then.
Yeah, there's quite a bit about these sites that is unknown. I'm really trying to get a group together and see if we can kill all the rats. They don't provide any bounty, they don't drop anything, but I really want to see if the battleships come in. But we'll need probably several tornadoes or something else that can snipe and take out cruisers in just 1 or 2 hits.
Have you tried coordinating with the Wormhole campus with trying to do a ghost site if it was to appear there?
No, because most oftentimes you need Tech 2 stuff for that, and I don't have Tech 2 for my main tune. But that's a good idea. If you guys run across an opportunity like that, I highly suggest, taking a part of it and posting your findings on the forum. And once we get enough confirmation on the forum, I throw it in the wiki. Or you can throw it in the wiki. Also, I'll throw in a little bump in here. I really encourage everyone who can to take a part of the Project Ascendency program in the E-UNI. What we're trying to do is we're basically doing the free information sharing of what we find, and I guess they plan on building one of these Stargates once the information comes out. I'm sorry, did I say Project Ascendency?
You did that, but I thought maybe I got it wrong because I'm looking at the wiki page here and it's Project Ascension. It's specific to Eve University.
Yeah, that's what I meant. I linked it in Fleet for you guys. But yeah, I believe Novell Smith is heading up this project, and so he's the guy to talk to if you got any other questions. And of course, I know about as much as anyone else does about these sites. There is quite a bit of misinformation though, so if you do spot something and you got enough confirmation from other sources, I highly encourage working on the wiki. Plus, this is a good opportunity to get a little buff in there for your graduate and sophomore title. I wish, Broccoli, I wish. But Joe Space is for CCP only. That's where they like to play with your stuff. Does anyone else have any other questions or anything you guys need me to recap over? I talked a little quick through that whole thing because my syllabus was pretty crappy.
If we wanted to listen to a recording, where do we find it?
Well, you can't. This is the first ever class on ghost sites. Next time I do one of these, once I get it more smooth, delivery of information and everything, I will get a recording together and put that up on the class library. But that'll probably be 1 to 2 months from now, because I'll only be teaching this once or twice a month.
I haven't got a question, but a comment, but, well, sort of. I've got one of the Stratioses, that's the Sisters of Eve Cruiser, and I've noticed, although it doesn't have the you're capable of using a Covert Ops cloak, it doesn't have the ability to give you less CPU, but I also noticed it's got the spot for that and only 5 torrent slots. But if what you've been saying about ghost sites being no scanner probes to find, then I'd say that ship was specifically built for it. They just didn't tell us.
Yeah, they released them at the same time, and so they really are the best ships to run for it, despite the fact that it does have a huge explosive hole in its armor. But they're pretty good for it. In reality, the best ship would be a T3, but those are pretty skill point intensive, and so they're probably not as expensive as the Stratios. But what I plan on doing with my alt character is buying a Stratios, buying a cargo expander for the bottom, throwing in one of the mobile depots, and having a fit for running relic sites and having a fit for running ghost sites. That way he can kind of travel around in Sovnol for a week at a time, collecting up blueprints and, power circuits and things like that. And then, once he's got like 1 billion or so ISK in the cargo hold, I just find a wormhole back to high.
That definitely sounds like a good idea, that's for sure.
I also might throw in a fit with that mobile depot and do ganking as well, because I think that would be kind of fun. Find other explorers and just stick all my drones on them.
Yeah, well, I got the bonus for the drones. I'm a big fan of drones. I use them quite a lot myself, and I've got, 2 Asteros. I got one with a combat fit, or I can switch it to an Explorer fit myself. It's just that I haven't got the skills for the Stratios yet.
Yeah, it's the same here.
I got most of the support skills, I just never worked on my cruiser skills.
Yeah, the good news is they're trying to drive down prices of the Sisters of Eve ships by allowing, I don't know too much information on this, but there's apparently drone regions of space to where that's where, it's not the drone sites that you get in the cosmic anomalies, it's just regions where, there's no NPC pirates, they're just drones. And, supposed to be able to pick up these Nexus chips from them next patch and trade those in for loyalty points with the Sisters of Eve.
Now, that'd be nice, because you always, I'm assuming from what you just said, it's not the little green drone clusters and things I see floating around when I got my scanners on.
No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's a place way out in Timbuktu. I think PL, Pandemic Legion, owns the whole territory that it is in Nullsec. And so, because it's not an Empire or Lowsec space. So, it's kind of unfortunate for us because we can't run them. But, yeah, supposedly if, those guys start running those sites, they start getting more and more ships and it'll drive the prices down over time. That's the goal of it.
Whilst making PL no doubt far, far richer.
Yeah, that's true. I'm about to get into incursions, so money won't be much of an issue for me for long.
I've thought about creating an alt just to sit there and faction warfare, just pick one faction, and it doesn't matter how much I lose with the rest of them, and just sit there farming LP with them, so that it can be traded in for something else.
Yeah. Well, it seems like this class is over. I'll stay here and answer any questions if people want to stay back, but you guys are free to go. And is there any comments or any suggestions what I should do for my next class?
Being able to display a few fits in Class E-UNI would be nice.
Yeah, I was looking for them, and I couldn't find them. Someone had some good fits for an Astro, and I lost my fit that I had for my Rupture that I was running them in. But yeah, I plan on getting those next time. I procrastinated of writing up the class syllabus till this morning.
That's alright, I've been known to do the same thing, although I don't run classes, luckily.
Yeah.
It was a great class, mate. My suggestion to everybody who runs them is if you can, take the minute, sort of keep track of sort of the questions that were asked, and try and fit them into your material. Does that make sense?
Yeah, or on top of that, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I think you can record all what's happening in Eve, any of the battle sequences. And so if you got that option, I don't know how to do it, but you can record your gameplay of what's happening while you run those sites.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for an awesome class, dude. I definitely have a better feeling about looking for and playing with these ghost sites.
Yeah, and I hope to see you guys more running them. I'd like to get as much info on these things as we can and start working on that Stargate soon.
Well, unfortunately, I think the term running them is a little, happy. I'll explode near a bunch of them, though, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. That's what makes it fun, the adrenaline. Oh, one last thing to note. The sites themselves, the hacking minigame, it seems like it's like when you're in low sec, it seems like you're doing hacking sites in high sec. So they're a bit easier than their current system, so to say. Like, for instance, most of the firewalls in a hacking minigame for a low sec site will be 40s or 50s, coherence-wise. So they're not that bad.
That's awesome, because I think in my first week I was hacking wormhole sites.
Yeah. The nullsec ones are pretty difficult, though. They'll have the restoration nodes. They'll have the nodes that take down your virus strength down to 15 instead of 30. And they'll have the But they'll also have the attack nodes that make it pretty easy.
It looks like I'm gonna have to pull me a stereo out and have a look around.
Oh, yeah. I would suggest for low sec getting up to Archaeology 4 or Hacking 4. That's really the only thing you need other than a Tech 2 tank. But you can do Tech 1 tanks for now. If you're going to do null sec though, I would really suggest getting Archaeology or Data or Hacking up to 5 to get that Tech 2 analyzer. And I always throw in the rig that helps in with the virus coherence as a buffer, because you only have one chance at these things rather than the 2 chances you have in normal exploration.
You said that it's either one, so I only have to pick one and focus on that, and that's sufficient?
Right. And I would really suggest doing relic analyzers, because right now in the game, data analyzers aren't doing too well, because the loot tables don't give you as much money. So if you're running around doing exploration sites, focus on the relics. And I got my relic analyzer up to 5 and my data analyzer up to 4, and I never run across a site that I can't do.
What would, if you could fit a 2-2 tank, other than a T3, what would you think would be the ideal ship to do? Maybe wormhole
prefer armor tanking because it frees up your mid slot. Oh, wormhole. Ooh. I don't know what to do in a wormhole, honestly, because the hacking game is so ridiculously hard. I wouldn't run it unless I was in a Tech 3 ship or a Stratios. Because you're running against firewalls that have 90 or more virus coherence. They're pretty nasty. I believe the distance between all the cans is 14 kilometers.
So it sounds like
quite remember.
Sounds like it's best to warp in cloaked and then get within 2K of it, then decloak, then run the site, right? Or run the can, rather.
Yeah, that's one of the best ways. Normally, what we do, me and JT like to run in there cloaked. We'll warp in. I'll call out one can, and then I'll move over to the left, and he'll call out one can and move over to the left, and that way, we're not bumping into each other or taking each other's cans, and then we warp out as soon as we can. Last guy out buys a beer kind of a thing.
Nice.
Or at least that's what someone said on the forums. But
so
yeah,
I'm sorry, for nullsec you still think the Stratios?
For nullsec you can get away with an Astro. For wormholes, probably want to do a Stratios.
Can she tank that much damage?
The Astro can tank the damage if you got it fitted right. I had the fit, but I lost it, and I'm looking for it. It's somewhere on the Project Ascension forums. You think it'd be easy to find because they only got like 10 to 15 topics in there, but I could not find it for the life of me.
Have you used a Nestor?
No, because I am nowhere near that space rich. Plus, the Nestor doesn't really give you that much of a bonus to hacking. It just gives you plus 10.
It looks like such an awful ship on paper.
Yeah, CCP kind of like, here, let's throw down some random attributes and make them look to a cool ship and then see what happens. They're going to rebalance it here pretty soon. Because right now
it's quite good the way it is. Basically, you've got a level 4 mission running ship. You've got a PvP ship. You've got access to a Logi ship or a site running ship. Or you can set it up to do a couple of them at once.
Yeah, it's really geared towards armor logi and wormholes. That's what it's set up for. But the fact that it has the relic and data analyzer bonus, but no CovOps cloak, kind of make that useless for that. You can run the site, like data and relic sites in the wormholes because you have to have a big group to run those anyway. But by then, it's usually better just to bring on a little frig after you're done running the site and then hack the stuff. But hopefully they will rebalance the ship and add the CovOps cloak to it. If they do that, then I'll definitely shell out the $1.5 bill to buy one immediately. Because I like cloaky
well.
ships and I like logistics ships, and that would be a perfect combination of both.